The date is March 14th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. Call meeting to order. All trustees are in attendance with the exception of Barb Whittick. Let's stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, do we have any public comments or input from anyone who would like to speak up? We are going to talk about.
Okay.
Going once, going twice. Okay. I need a motion, someone to make a motion to consent the agenda for February 8th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to consent the agenda.
I'll second. Okay. First, by Kelly Stein, or Trustee Stein, and second by Trustee Studi. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You guys have it, so passed. Okay. The sheriff is not here, so we'll continue with reports. If the sheriff comes in, then we'll get some in here. My report. So just a few things that I have to report. First of all, there is a Lateria, and well, I guess the administration office received something from the city about our sewer. We're in negotiation right now with the sewer and the city. I will be talking to Corey Mason and as well as Paul Vorport, and I have also talked to our village attorney because our agreement needs to be renegotiated for next January, and North Bay is under the same contract, so we're trying to figure out how that's going to work. Our attorney is looking over the contract right now and giving us feedback, so please stay tuned with that because that may be an issue we have to deal with later in the year. Right, so, can you not hear me?
No, I couldn't. What contract was
It's
that?
the sewer, it's not the sewer pact, but it's how we're connected to the sewer. And it comes up every 50 years, so this is like the new
Right.
negotiation, but it comes up in January. So I am looking it over with the village attorney, and actually Ernie knew a little bit about it, so he was looking at it with me and giving us feedback, but Mark Kingston, our village attorney, is also looking at it. So we will see what they say. There's a couple, I'm keeping a very good narrative of what we're doing just to make sure we've got everything in place, just so you know. So I'm doing my best to make sure we work with our village attorney to make it, and we cross all our I's and dot all our T's. No, cross all our T's and dot all our I's. So just keep that in mind, and that may be another discussion later.
Are they asking for changes, or is it just kind of updating?
That's what we don't,
Okay.
like, there's a couple things that they want us to do, this negotiation, and we don't know if we necessarily agree. North Bay met with them, he did not like what he heard, so we're looking into finding out what they can tell us. And I have not met with Corey Mason yet, so hopefully in the next couple weeks. So stay tuned.
Just for get a hold of North Bay.
I did already,
Okay. Good.
already done, yeah. Yeah.
They had the
So, also, the duplex at 3365, 3367 North Elmwood Drive. There's been a lot of talk about the duplex through my phone. And somebody purchased the duplex, and the concern is that they want to, one thing he wants to do is he wants to extend the driveway. He will not be able to do that without coming to the board first. He can't just make that decision. So the other thing he's been doing is just doing a lot of renovations in the building. I've been in that house before. It's right by the circle. Rick, what's Rick's last name?
Coleman.
Yes, Rick Coleman lived there for a long time, very nice man. And his legal guardian, Barbara, she helped sell the building, and she was not happy. She wanted it to go not to an LLC, but unfortunately things changed, and she didn't realize it until she was at the title company. So she's brought to my attention a couple things. Tim Kratowitz has brought some things to my attention, and a couple other neighbors. Ken and I went over to the duplex to see if we could find anything out on Tuesday night or Monday night. What night was that?
I think it's Tuesday.
I called Ken because I wanted someone to be there with me, just, you know, it's always good to have another ear. They were not working on the duplex at the time. Our building inspector, Kurt Buchaklian, he did go over and had a meeting with him on Thursday, the new owner, Dan Jarrett, and looked to see what he'd been doing. Tim Kradowitz, our village electrician, was also there. And they basically said, you have not gotten one permit for anything, and he needs permits. So I don't know if he was necessarily aware of that, but Kurt has made it very, he's made him very aware. We have a stop notice on the door now, so he cannot do any other work until he meets with Kendall and gets the proper permits. He also has to put together something on paper to show Kirk exactly what he plans to do. I sent a letter, it's going out certified tomorrow as well, with all of this in writing to him, so he knows what he needs to do, as well as the stop notice. Our village attorney is aware as to what's going on. And we will see where this goes, but just be aware that we are aware of it. And he just can't do anything else. It is stated in the letter, it can be a single family or a duplex, but it cannot be more than that. It can be a duplex, because it is a duplex, but it cannot be a multifamily, you know, you can't have 4 different apartments in there.
So is that one of our rules in terms of, you know, the village?
Well, it's zoned for a single family or a duplex, and that is all it is zoned for. The driveway, he may ask to get an extension, and he can bring it to us, but we can decide as a board
Okay, so
on what we want to do with that.
my question would be, if somebody has a duplex or a house, and they want to change it into something else, some other kind of resident situation, like a dorm,
No.
shouldn't that go through the board?
Well, he can't. It cannot be
Just
done.
can't be done.
It cannot be done. And Kirk has made that very clear to him, that it is a single family or a duplex
Okay.
and nothing more. And that is also stated in the letter. So,
Done.
yeah,
Okay.
and if you need to see the letter, I didn't get it done by you, but those two read it, so. So I don't know. He definitely wants to rent it out as more than one family, but just keep an eye on it. Thank you for all of your help and information on that. I think that's all I have at the moment. So I'm going to go to Trustee Hinkle. Do you have anything to report?
I do not.
Trustee Johnson?
I do that.
Trustee Rude?
Not at this time.
Trustee Stein?
No report.
Trustees Judy?
Just an update on upcoming village events. On March 30th, we'll be having our first Easter egg hunt. There'll be age-appropriate activities for everybody. So bring your kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews. It's a village event, so only people that live here and their extended families can attend. And it should be a great time. It's our first one. So if it's nice out, we'll be utilizing the lawn for an Easter egg hunt. If it's not nice out, we'll be in the big gym. So bring the family.
What time?
I think it's 12 and
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock, sorry, 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock
Yeah.
start?
Yes, it starts at 2.
And that's here outside.
Yeah, if it's
Yeah.
nice outside, we'll be out front.
And then the gym is available just in case.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's really nice.
Hopefully that's next week.
Yeah, I hope so.
No, because it's on the agenda.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's on the agenda. So Trustee Whittick is excused, so Administrator Shaw, is there anything you would like to report?
So we're gonna be moving forward like after spring because our contract is gonna be up with asphalt contractors. Looking for a new service for the year to come, just because we want to see what's out there. So we have to put a bid in April 1st to get that process going. So that'll be the next step as far as that. We didn't get much snow this year, so it's been a good year for us. But we just want to see if there's someone else we can contract with because of so many issues and complaints with them.
Can I suggest that you don't wait till April 1st, or no, whenever you want it to get that, but get going right away. It's very difficult to find people that will get out of the truck and shovel the complex.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, I think sooner rather than later, for sure.
And then in response to the memos, we didn't have a lot of tenants who wanted to change their payment dates or anything like that as far as rent. So we only have 2 people, so that's going well. We have had some complaints, so we may be moving some tenants around. We still have building 5 is empty. So we are working with a real estate agent right now to get that rented, but we may just move who we have already in there and kind of fill a gap. And then the lady who rents the spa is gonna take over the whole building. So,
Hopefully,
yes.
at some point.
So we're hoping to have that as a plan, just to even things out right now. I was thinking about the beautification award. I know that was something that we had in the past, so maybe bringing that back out. I don't know how everyone felt about that in the village.
I'm fine.
Yeah, so that's something I can work on, just because it gets everyone engaged in the community, and it's good to have a nice upkept lawn, and it gets everyone involved.
Are you gonna work with anybody in particular on that, or just the events committee, or you can get local residents involved in that, or?
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring it up here first and kind of go from there. I did talk to Patricia Black as well too, and she liked it, so.
She was involved in that?
Yeah, yep, so she brought it up, so that'll definitely be a contact person for that.
Great.
And she also talked about the trees, that she was planning on coming in today, just about taking better care of the trees and educating everyone on the trees, just because we lose so many. We have lost a lot, and simple things can keep the trees longer, so we can do that. So that's a discussion we can have in the next meeting. And then moving into the spring, we did kind of talk about speed humps, but we're gonna kind of follow up on that. It's on the agenda today. And we have a wish list that we'll kind of discuss as well. And so that's my report today.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving forward with old business, discussion about purchasing and installing speed humps in the village. There have been 2 people, well, one was just by word of mouth. You didn't print out that letter, did you? There was one word of mouth and one from a resident on South Elmwood Drive. Joanne, what's her last name, Jan? Yeah, Joanne Matson. Joanne Matson wrote a lovely letter. I don't know if you want to read it. That would be the meeting. It's kind of long. Joanne Matson is very against the speed humps because she just doesn't see the need on South Elmwood for that. She just feels like people naturally are not necessarily speeding, and I know where she lives, it's just past the curve if you're going out. So it's a little bit early, but she was very against it. She just feels like it'll be a lot of wear and tear on the cars. She's very concerned. She doesn't think it's necessary. We have not gotten, and then I had Rachel Matt Stride. Rachel talked to me. She was word of mouth, and she said, I hate those things, and they're terrible. And she is right next to Kelly on East Elmwood, where you would have the potential to speed a little bit. And she said, there's one car in particular, but I don't feel like it's necessary just to slow down one person that I can think of that's speeding. For the most part, I feel like it's pretty calm on our side. Talking with Brian, and Brian, you kind of looked into some things. Why don't you share what your thoughts were?
I mean, there's a few residents on Maryland that would probably appreciate it, and I think it's more the roads coming in. It's just not the residents, it's the Amazon drivers, it's the grocery delivery drivers, it's, there's just a lot of people that come speeding through, and Brad would be, he's one of them as well too, but it's, for myself, I'm out walking my dog, it's either once or twice a night or a day or whatever, but it's pretty bad, and the other thing is if we could get people to just use a blinker, and I get it, that's like pulling teeth, but it's just the courteous, and not saying it's the village residents, it's probably a lot of people that are just coming through or, doing their thing, but still, it's, sometimes you're like, okay, are you gonna turn, you're not gonna turn, you're doing 80, like I mentioned that night when Brad was here last summer, right in front of Ernie's house, and my sweatpants moved because the guy was so close, or girl was so close to me on the road. And it's, if everyone just slow down a little bit, then, that's like I said, even if in a newsletter, if we put in there, the ABCs of driving, or just something to dumb it down.
Right.
Use a blinker, be courteous, because, by your house too, with all the kids out there, it's just, I've been here 6 years and surprised nothing bad has happened over there yet,
Well, you
because,
just don't want that to happen. Right.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and does it take something happening to slow people down?
Right.
I
No,
know.
the deterioration of driving in this
Yes.
town is,
Well, that, yeah.
It's happened in Milwaukee.
But it's, yeah, and that's all due to COVID because all the officers were told you don't pull people over.
Right, right.
And everyone has just said, I mean, you know, the four-way stop, you see every morning, Kurt, right? You know, it's 2 cars go through at a time too, so I mean, what can we do? But,
Kurt was just saying that, he was out and there was a gal coming down pretty fast, coming down Taylor toward going east. And she kind of came up to the four-way and she kind of, okay, nobody's there, she went right through it. And he's like, really? You know, it's
Yeah.
sad.
They don't care that the sheriff is there.
No.
We are looking into like a flasher or some sort, that when you come around that curve on Taylor, we've had, I don't know, how many accidents? Shirley, you had somebody in your front yard, right?
Twice in the last 6
Twice?
months. Yeah.
So we're looking for something, we're looking for something to slow down people on Taylor. We can't put speed humps on Taylor, unfortunately, but I would like to find out if the people on Maryland, in between Lathrop and Taylor, would appreciate speed humps. I don't want to put something there if they're all totally against it, but I do like that
Right.
idea.
a couple of people
I-
said yes. but-
I don't, okay, that's good, if
Yeah.
you can find out. I don't know if we need it in the inner circle. We have not gotten anybody calling in saying, oh my God, yes, I'm totally for this. It's more been, no, please don't. So I do think the stop signs do slow people down, you know, by Standish. They have a bigger stretch on South Elmwood, but those were really the people I heard from that said, we don't feel like we need anything, so.
And maybe with the person who is in violation, that they feel is speeding, maybe.
We just
they
send
can-
them a note
Well,
of some
you
sort.
can actually have the sheriff, just like we had the guy over there on Standish who was doing the motorcycle and up and
Right.
down Taylor. They had the sheriff go and visit him a couple of times.
Yeah.
And just say, we understand and we have witnesses that have seen this, and if we have to come back, you will ticket it. And that sometimes that'll put a little fear of God into them and they'll slow down.
Yeah, well, there's a house on Wheelock, and I won't mention where, who, but I called the sheriff, 19-year-old kid, and they went and talked to him, because he was gonna kill somebody. Bottom line, so, yeah.
Exactly.
So I don't
That's very
know
nice.
if there's really, I don't want to vote on something if we, I would like, can you reach out to the rest of the residents on Maryland?
Yeah.
Because I think that the only, if we're going to put in a speed hump, that's where I would, the only place I'd like to put it.
I have 2 thoughts.
Go ahead.
Thought 1, maybe some strategically placed stop signs would help slow things down in and around and within the village. And we have to study that, so.
I think Lou studied that a few years ago. Do you remember when he did that?
Yeah, but I don't recall what he came up with.
Right.
The other thought would be, if we could, I don't know, purchase or rent or somehow get access to these speed signs
Mhm.
that show, okay, it's 30, but you're going 35, and then collect that data and find out, okay, well, where is the speeding happening?
I think it's mostly on Taylor and Lathrop.
I agree, I know, but you know what I'm saying? That way we have actual data to say, okay, on this road, between this stretch and this stretch, between this intersection and this intersection, there's an average, speeding incident this often. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay,
We keep talking about this. Lettieri, I'd really like to move forward on it.
I know.
Getting that speed sign, especially around the corner. Yes, Lathrop, but also on that corner, because we've had, I don't know how many, too many accidents over there. Go ahead.
At one of the meetings I was at, you asked the sheriff, there's, I think, 2 in Racine. He was gonna look in to see if we can get one, if we could get one.
Right.
Has he gotten back to you?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
no, we had it a couple of years ago right across from my house on Lathrop. Yeah, it kind of slowed people down, but now, like you've heard me say, I think at the last meeting you were at, where now it's just comical. Because people are doing 60, 70. Now, I had someone about give me from behind pulling in my driveway. But what do? I stop. I mean, if I'm backing out of my driveway, I mean, don't try this at home, but if I see someone flying, oh, I'm still coming out enough to where I've got to slow down. It's ridiculous.
Sure.
It's, yeah.
They're trying to go
It's
faster
bad.
than the potholes.
Already start swimming in them soon.
We are not in trouble, we're not in charge of the potholes on Lathrop Avenue, just so you know. they would have been fixed if they were ours, but they're not, it's the county's, so we're working on that too. Okay, then I think we're just gonna table this for now, and hopefully make a decision in April, to see if that, and if anybody has another idea of another place they wanna put one, please let me know. Same goes for villagers, if there's anything you wanna say, let me know, I'd be happy to take it into consideration.
I am curious about the stop sign study though, I don't know if you have any.
I'm gonna look back and see if we still have
Yeah.
that from Lou, because, there were a couple ideas that he had, and then I feel like we never went
I
anywhere.
give him a call.
We talked
Yeah,
about
I
it,
give him a
but
call,
Okay.
too.
he did like a lot of work on it, and then it just, I feel like it just never went anywhere. Am I right? We talked about it.
I know we talked about this, so many signs.
There's so many signs, yeah.
People just kind of, they don't.
It-
Not
yeah,
pay
it's,
attention.
it's
Well-
one of those,
I wish it was actually a stop sign by the circle tree rather than a yield sign, because you cannot see who's coming in when you're at the yield sign, because there's like a little hill. I mean, I'm like, I don't know if there's anyone there. I don't know, just something to think about.
yeah, within the village we could do that, I think it's just Taylor Avenue because it's county, it's probably a little trickier.
Right.
To change that, I think.
I don't know everyone's mentality, but I'm guessing people are more likely to stop at a stop sign, or at least do a rolling stop. A Chicago roll, there you go, which would slow them down potentially, enough. And if we figure out like where to put them, that might solve most of the problem. Again, I'm not against the speed bump thing. That's fine, they're cheap. And that, the report that you gave us, a month ago or whatever it was, I'm like, oh my God. That's what, $75? Or whatever it was? Super cheap. And if it doesn't work, we can move it.
Right.
Because it's movable.
Just in the next couple of newsletters as well, too.
Yeah.
Summer's coming, we now have a park, right? I think there's gonna be more kids, yeah.
So the city put in a movable, speed hump thing by North Beach. You
Right,
guys-
yeah, we talked about that.
The way
We do.
Bush Bay,
It's slow, yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed to work just fine. So I'm not for or against either way, but.
Okay. All right. So tabling and maybe making a decision in April, but please check on those
Right,
residents in
yeah,
Maryland. Moving on, discussion and possible approval of new loan amount for complex window and building maintenance projects. If you could take a look, you have a wish list. It's in your packet and it's on the back.
I might not pencil.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So we have to make some decisions on yays or nays. And where's Kurt?
I'm hiding.
No. I just want to make sure that we know all the things that we're talking about. So the 26 window panels are,
There's 8 of them up here, and there's 16 on the other side. So our thoughts were to blank off the 16 windows in the gym, blank it off. The whole reason it's brought up is because the heating bill is about $900 for this building. There's 3 furnaces, but I'm sure that that's the reason.
that it's, we're getting,
Yeah,
we're losing
so-
so much heat.
It was suggested to me just blank them off. And with these, we could leave them, or these are just single plain pane glass, and then put e-glass in there and replace them. That basically came to that 22,000.
Okay. What's the tall window in the gym?
Next to the door, entrance door down there, there's a tall window and, or glass, it's open. And it's all rusted in the bottom, the
Okay.
whole frame, and that's a $2,000. Take the frame out and put a new window in, that's $2,000. It would take $2,100 to remove the baskets so that we can work on those windows in the gym.
Okay.
So we'd have to take the basketball hoops down and put them
Okay.
off to the side. So, but if we don't do it, then that's $4,000 you can save there. So the gym doors have already been, we've already approved those. that was $4,800. We've already let Hornell at that, so that's already being done.
That's for that big door downstairs.
Right. And so the mullion was $1,400, but we're eliminating that because we're gonna replace the whole door. And then the glass blocks on building floor 4, on the north end, there's 3 colored black glass blocks. A lot of the glass blocks are broke, and we just got plywood in there. Those windows would cost $5,400 to replace. You know, nobody sees them, nobody complains about them.
Mhm.
We could probably do something a little better than plywood, you know, so that's an option. The lever handles for the doors, for the 8 doors, we had $3,600 for just a lever handle, but then if we did keypad, that would be $6,000, and then that'd also be another $1,000 basically to have Hornell install the closers, because I guess that's kind of tricky.
But then we don't have to deal with keys and people
That's
leaving
right.
keys.
That's, you know, when you're constantly renting out back and forth, I think that's a doable thing. The
four-
furnaces,
Which buildings are those in?
what's that?
Which buildings are those in? Building 2?
Which buildings?
No, the four old furnaces, all in
The,
4.
the 2 in building 2, 1 in building 5, and 1 in building 4.
The glass
Those are the,
blocks.
No,
Glass
in the
blocks.
Furnace,
four
furnace.
furnaces.
Oh,
Four
okay,
furnaces.
sorry.
2 in building,
2 in building 2, 1 in 5, 1 in 4.
but
Those will be-
they're working currently.
They are working, I
We
mean,
know they're gonna go at some point, okay.
well, I can get a price. That's a big number, all 4 of them at one time.
Yeah,
And we'd have to get multiple bids, but working with First Call, which I really, really like, the last one we put in was $4,500, and everybody else was over 5. And so I'm guessing that those 4 furnaces would be about 18,000. Does it have to be done? They're still working, you know.
What year were they put in?
And then,
What's the average age of those furnaces?
what's that? Well, they're all from the 80s. You know, they're like 82, 85, something like that. They're all old furnaces.
they're almost, well, they're a little bit older than me. Just 10.
And then do we want to replace this concrete slab out here? Just a slab, nothing fancy, $4,000.
And then the paint, we got a quote on the paint this week.
We got 2 of them.
So we got one for 16,000.
No, 18,000.
18,000, and then another one for only 7,200. 7,200. So, and then, go ahead, Kurt.
Well, and then probably 6 months ago, I wouldn't have had this particular item on the list. But it's a lift for the maintenance to work in the gym and maybe lights out here. But we had an incident where probably a soccer ball knocked one of the lights halfway down. And it was dangling. We had to get somebody in here to do it. And I called up Ultimate Contractors. They're great to work with, but they're super expensive. And for that 3-hour project for them was $850. And if we had a lift, we could do something like that ourselves. And the lifts I was looking at for the last couple of weeks, personally, and I've worked with these before, when I did work, it's a portable lift that's pushable. It's not hydraulic, it's electric. And trying to keep the cost down. It's portable, that we can get it into the gym, out of the gym, and it'll go up 20 feet. And a brand new one would cost about $11,500. That's a lot of money. And we wouldn't use it a lot, and I gotta admit that. We wouldn't use it a lot.
That's the other thing. Would you only use it in the gym, or would you use it for tree trim? What, anything
Well,
else?
no, you can't do it for trees.
Or
It's
for
gotta be on a hard
gutters?
surface. But I could change the light bulbs in the parking lot.
Outside, okay.
But thanks to Laura and her research too, we found one up by West Bend that's 10 years old. It looks like brand new, and it's $39.50, $3,950. We could use it. I could use it next week, really. There's some,
Well, didn't you say John could have used it this past week? for
that's what I
something?
mean, I could,
Okay.
But, I gotta admit, in the 10 years I've been here, I probably only had to go up there 4 or 5 times.
That's what I wondered. I think I asked Ken.
You know, and it's like, I haven't used it a lot,
I think the
but if
difference is,
another light comes down, that's another $900.
the other difference is
$4,000 right there, yeah.
we have a lot more soccer in the gym now, so
Yes.
those kids,
Kids kick balls.
they kick those balls high. You know, for a long time it was only basketball or it wasn't rented out at all. But now we have a lot of soccer players in there, so that's something else we have to think about. I'd just like to know everybody's thoughts. I know my thoughts, but I also want to know what everybody else thinks. That's a big list.
I have a thought.
What's your thought?
Well, on the lift,
Yes.
Yeah.
$3,900. So if we could build into a rental agreement that if you damage a light, you.
Kendall and I have talked about that.
You
so-
did? Okay.
Yeah, if you damage a light, it's gonna be X amount of dollars. You know, you're
Whatever
not,
that amount is.
Yeah.
Which would offset the cost of, the lift.
well, the first thing I would do with that lift, the way that the lights are hung, they're hung by 2 chains that go to a clip that they basically pound onto the steel. And it's got teeth on there. And once it's on there tight. But if you hit the chain with a ball,
Just right,
it
yeah.
just right, it pops off, and that clip is useless because it straightened out those teeth. So what we did downstairs is we put another screwed the clip into the steel, it didn't come out. But I asked them how much money it would cost to do all the lights. That was $5,000 to $6,000.
Well, there you go.
So I mean, nothing's cheap.
No, I know, but
You know.
if we buy our own lift and you can do it, and you proactively fix them so that they're less likely, to come apart or break or whatever.
Right. We have
That's our cost right
In
now.
it, right, and we've only had, in the 8, 9 years that them lights been up there, we've only had 2 lights. I mean, I
Right.
gotta be honest with you, wouldn't use it a lot, but we could use it. I mean, especially when I see $900 basically to fix that light for 3. They did a great job, and they came right away,
Yeah.
but $900?
And you said you could fix the lights in the parking lot, because I know you mentioned, because like we had one out, and.
Still do.
Okay, and how, it's pricey to have that, someone to do.
It's $125 an hour to bring a truck in, and plus the labor. So it's probably about $200 an hour
Yeah.
to replace a light.
And how often do those go out? Are they replacing with?
The ones that we've been putting in now are better
Okay.
bulbs than, but the thing is I got about a dozen of the old ones still down there that we've already bought.
Right. So
You know,
wanna use
So we probably got, I think, I had that number in my head, 5 or 6 new ones, the newer bulbs. Of course, the new ones out by 5 on the other side of the parking lot, those are the new LEDs.
Okay.
But, the ones we got now, if they go out, we've still got 12 bulbs downstairs,
But it's better.
But if
for
you-
the truck
I
to
can
do it.
push that lift up there, set it up and go. It goes up 20 feet. The peak of the ceiling here is 26 feet, but withstanding this workable is 26 feet. So, and if we did do the windows in there, darn well the contractors would be more than happy to borrow that thing, so.
Take
Instead of
some
spending
I was gonna
some
say, which
capital.
means they take something.
Something
off
There
of
again,
it.
like you said, $900, if it happens 3 more times on a whim. And there again, if we sit on it for 3 or 4 years and never touch it, you're still gonna get the $4,000 back for it,
Well,
if needed.
I think,
I could not make this decision because I do the wish list, that I was like, you gotta ask the board tomorrow. He brought this to me yesterday, and I'm like, I can't, there's too many other things on the wish list, I gotta wait.
And I appreciate the wish list, because I know you make that stupid.
Well,
No, but it's good.
if you're gonna borrow money, which I know you're going to,
Mhm.
you borrow just a little bit more, do windows, the pad, this, you're already you're already doing that door downstairs, that double door down there. That's $5,000, $4,800. What else do you wanna do? Do you wanna do the furnaces? Or do you wanna just wait till they go?
So, I'm wondering if, like, I don't mind, like, I know this, there's a lot of heat escaping here. I wonder if we leave these alone and do these later, but do
Well-
the gym.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
you
know.
could,
I'm looking at it as, because I'm, of course, looking at it from the money perspective.
Yeah, I would,
because
Kelly's,
that's,
please.
That's what I do. Because I know from working with Kendall, with the way that we have to work our budget, is, when these little repairs come up, this time of year, getting closer to when the second tax bills come due to the village, it gets a little
Sticky.
sticky, because we run it's a pretty tight budget. So, I mean, I'm torn because I don't have to spend money. I'm very,
Well,
very
it's-
cheap. But I'm also thinking, like, money today is worth more than money tomorrow. So, if you can do some of these things now and, maybe have a lift that in the future that would, and even like the blocks, if you can't see them, but, if it's going to become a much more expensive fix later because maybe the blocks will start leaking and now we have to come up with $6,000.
is there anything that you know you wanna do on this list?
I mean,
I
I would
think-
like to do all it.
I would like to do all of it. The only thing
yeah.
that I would hold off on, but I understand, like, borrowing money, sometimes you get a better, I don't know, the interest rate isn't excellent, it's fine.
It's,
Um,
20 years ago would be fantastic.
I know. I would maybe just not, I don't know if I would do these windows yet, I would do the ones in the gym. And I'm having a really hard time replacing the furnaces if they're not out
I
yet.
know.
Like, I had somebody tell me my air conditioner was gonna go out literally 8 years ago, and it is now, knock on wood,
Right.
Jesus. Because we didn't replace it when we replaced our furnace, and I would've been paying on that too, so probably this summer I'll go out, because I said that, but,
And that's where I'm torn too, because those are the, because it's Murphy's Law. If you do this now, well, it would have lasted another 20 years. It's
Right.
like my refrigerator was making a weird noise, as soon as I replace it,
Well, we did replace 2 furnaces this fall,
right.
I
And that
mean,
hurts our budget,
Yeah.
it was an unexpected, I don't like unexpected.
Right.
well, I
like
totally
stress.
agree with you.
Yeah, so that's where I'm.
I'd
leaning towards
rather
it.
do the furnaces than the windows.
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
For sure.
That was my first thought was windows, but I can live with the windows, but I think furnaces,
Furnace, well.
Well, then if, I don't know, what do you guys think? Because they're both,
both.
the furnaces are 20,000, the windows in the gym and up here are 22,000. And I would probably approve everything else on this list, but I'd like to decide on, knocking
How
down.
much return are you getting rid of the
I
old
looked down the list and I don't
Oh, yeah.
think,
and putting
Yeah.
in new,
I
you're
think
gonna get a
everything
better
on
It's
here
a
is
high
return
there
efficiency.
for a reason.
and saving the
And
money.
I do like to be
Well,
proactive.
that's- These are,
Yeah.
you're
If the
saving a
furnace
little bit,
breaks
but
and
how
you
much?
have some
You
emergency
saving
come in
$100 a
here
month?
and Replace it, it's just gonna be a crazy expense.
Right.
I'd rather take care of the issue before it becomes an issue.
Okay.
And for the lift, I think that's a great idea. I think it will help efficiency and help keep you guys safer. I don't like ladders, and carrying them around is the worst.
Yes.
So I would prefer you guys be in a lift. I mean, you could come
Yeah,
here and replace
I'm
lights.
not
You know.
doing scaffolding anymore, that's a
Right,
young man's
yeah.
game.
Well,
And
it's just safer. And
I've
if
lost
that-
my wings a long time
That
ago.
price is good, and you guys did your research and found them for a great price, so,
Yeah.
buy used and save the difference is one of my mottos.
Kurt can drive right up there and get it.
The-
Just out by West Bend.
Well, Kurt, I think we're approving the lift for sure.
Yes.
Get the
Well,
lift, I think I'm okay, like, I just wanted to talk to the board because it came up yesterday at like mid-afternoon, and I was like, I don't know. And because we had this wish list. Is there anything on here that anyone thinks we should take off of the wish list? Kelly, you're our finance chair, is there anything you're concerned about?
One comment from me is that we're landlords. Okay, we make money doing this. So we have to be up to speed on things.
Mhm.
We have to have adequate equipment. We have to have, you know, up-to-date furnaces and so on.
Even if it's 10
Because
years old.
this is how we make a ton, not a ton necessarily, but a fair amount of money. That helps the village. So because it's a business, yes, my, you know, air conditioner that went out 5 years ago was just an expense because it went out, so I had to fix it, but it's my house. I'm not making money from renting out a space that has adequate air conditioning. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I think just looking at it that way might help a little bit. So that's my comment.
Oh, and I don't want to say I'm against anything, I'm just literally running the numbers in my head, and I'm thinking of all the repairs that I should have done on my house that are now costing me $10,000 more because I sat on it. So that's,
And another thing to think about too is just the higher efficiency from.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's gonna cost less.
Well, and
We get rebates as well.
I am wondering, you know, our complex debt does fall off fairly soon here.
Next year,
And so we do have to keep in mind that,
they keep it up.
yes,
So, and I think too with the furnaces that we had replaced recently, there was, Lateria, did you get, there was a rebate or something on the one that
Yep.
we
It
bought?
takes 6 to 8 weeks for it to process, but that's in the works.
Because still, it's
Mhm.
money coming back and just the efficiency. And with the window, it's really gonna help the cost.
I agree, and on that, if we do have a person renting a building and their utility costs go from $900 a month to heat or cool their unit to $500, I mean, that is
It's a big
really
difference.
It makes it more
appealing.
desirable,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, because we
Totally.
definitely had tenant turnover and trying to attract new tenants that are, you know, if we do end up having to, you know, raise rents and things like that, it would justify it a lot easier, because there's a lot of rental space available.
okay, is there anything that anyone would like to strike from the list
How much is
at all?
your
Or
total waste?
are you pushing through on everything?
I guess my only thought on a furnace thing, because I want to replace the furnaces, but, you know, to the same effect that, you know, if it's not broken, is with kind of the understanding that if something else were to break, then we may have to hold up on a furnace till like we could do 3 of them. You know what I mean? Just like if some $5,000 repair comes, you know, window breaks, we
Save
have to
something,
replace it.
yeah.
Just to kind of,
Well, one of the things that would be a major expense, and I think Tom would agree, is the furnace that supplies, that heats up that monster gym, is an old piece of equipment.
Yeah.
What's the boiler
And
though, isn't it?
that would be,
That's
that would
boiler?
be,
Is that a boiler?
no, it's forced air, but
There's two.
it's old.
and
You
there's
know what
two
I
of them,
mean?
okay.
We haven't had to put Band-Aids on it, but that would be a 20, 30.
Easily 20 to 25 grand.
Okay, don't stop talking.
and that's what I'm.
That's not on the
exactly what
wish
I'm worried
list.
about.
I know, that's why I'm saying,
That's
no more.
exactly, and that's exactly like, you know, like going in order.
So maybe that's why we
of
eliminate
things
the windows. I could live definitely without that, you know, myself.
Are you talking about the windows in this building,
Yeah,
taking that whole $22,000 out?
Yeah.
Because you would eliminate that, you would eliminate the $2,100 for the removal of the backboards plus $2,000 for that one window in the gym. So it'd be more like 26 grand you eliminate.
But if you, like you said, the heat cost right now for the gym is because of those windows,
I know,
right?
that's it.
Yeah.
Well, then if we get rid of that, maybe that'll extend the life of those 2 furnaces by 5 years too.
Right.
Well, that's one furnace, and it's huge.
They're
And
one,
it's,
yeah.
what it's called is a makeup air unit. And, you know, that was built, let's put it this way, they built the building wrong at first. You know, so, I mean, the furnace came in first, then they built the wall. You know, so,
And they're up on stands.
they're,
They're on
yeah, it's
metal
up 5
stands.
feet high.
Oh my God.
So, I mean,
Nice.
I haven't had, have you had anything done to that thing other than the fresh air intake guys, or no?
Fresh air intake and the
Which is all eliminated now.
yeah, and then the heat exchanger and the one,
Oh, you did do one?
had
Okay.
to do one for heat exchanger to get it occupied.
Oh. Well, let's not even talk about that
But
one.
that does lead into kind of where my brain is thinking with like long-term things, because obviously, you know, this $190,000 we've had set aside to do the windows. Well, once this is done, and then once, you know, we have the building paid off, you know, we have some kind of a fund, we, you know, start putting towards, so then when the $25,000 thing breaks, we have it. You know, that, it's kind of like more of maintenance as opposed to, because it just.
You've got, what, 3 more years on the building?
Next year.
Next year.
Next year it's paid off? Okay.
Right, so then we can start earmarking, so then we're not having these discussions for all these little things that kind of like get picked up, it's more of a, so every time
I know.
Kendall and I are talking about the budget, I'm like, are we gonna do, or we have a bad snow year, or something along those lines. We
Because,
kind
well,
of
you don't
have
want it to drop
that
completely, but yes, possible.
discussion for next year, once this is, you know, kind of done, but I
That's
mean,
We
the
have-
biggest
that would
concern,
maybe,
is they'll drop off anymore.
as I'm trying to budget in my brain, to make more sense.
Well, we had,
Nice.
one of our main hits this last year was the ceiling over at BB School.
Right,
That was $13,000.
right, that's, those,
You know, that's a big chunk of money.
those are the things.
The
But they have to be-
Ceiling came down.
Yeah,
So, okay,
okay, so I'm good.
Kelly, is there anything
I'm
you need?
processing.
Okay,
I'm
so I
processing.
would like to, does anybody want to strike anything from the list?
I'm ready to vote.
Okay, so I would like to do a roll call on this because I'd like to know,
What are we voting on?
voting for, that we're approving.
3 or
Yes.
88?
I think personally, well, it says add painting quote as well as optional lift, so it might go up a little bit because it's, the 88 is with the painting quote, no. The 88 is with the upgraded door handles,
Right.
which are key pad handles, and I think that is smart. But then you have to add
Right.
another just over 10,000, so we're really approving like 98,000.
That's, and are we setting that number now, or are we, I mean, that's.
I put a buffer right there.
No.
Yeah. Right, but she didn't put it on here, but that, yeah.
Bet you there's gonna be $2,000 over
I think they would be budgeted.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you know,
We are
if they only approve X amount.
yeah, you gotta add it, in my mind.
Yeah.
I think this building should be done.
Okay.
And even the windows up here, just putting in better glass.
I just don't want to get yelled at for borrowing too much money.
That's
But I've gone through the buildings, I've seen some things that really do need some upkeep. And I agree with Kelly that I do not necessarily like, when all of a sudden I get a call from Kurt that says, the furnace is out and we need a new one and it's gonna be this much money, so.
And it always happens like when it's 13 or 14 degrees below
Which is
zero.
zero, yeah.
like
So-
garage doors too. They break when it's 5 degrees.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so,
Look, it's like changing tires. You know, yeah, yeah, exactly. You don't wait for it to blow up on the freeway. You look at the tread and you figure out, okay, this is about time, and you do it. And again, being a business, you know, we've got to make those kinds of decisions so that we don't get in trouble, or we don't have an emergency where we've got to, you know, fix something for double the cost. That,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Prices continue to keep going up.
Yeah, exactly, that too. And if these were in, like the furnaces, for example, in the 80s, you say?
Yeah,
Okay, look,
they paid for themselves.
it's 40 years.
Yeah.
Shop, they're still running.
Yeah, well, we are too, and
They're living along.
when he first
stop
came
talking
over,
about it, you're just gonna
you look at
juju
them,
out
and
there.
I said, I wouldn't even charge you for looking at them, because these are so old, I don't
Yeah.
wanna try to fix what's, he said,
Wouldn't
I
even
wouldn't
touch
put
it,
a dime in.
Wouldn't even look at it. Yeah.
All right, so,
So then my other question then,
go ahead,
if I can,
yes.
if we do whatever the numbers we're set at, if we're asking over, then what happens with that extra money that we have? Is that, are we not establishing a slush fund then for repairs with
Well,
that money?
I would love if we know we're here.
That's,
The
yeah,
rainy day,
yeah, I mean, yeah, I just wanna make sure,
Yes, that's what I would think.
yes.
Because.
so a separate budget line number, or budget line item, the whole kick
Yeah.
total.
We've got
I
a
would
fixed
think
number.
it'd be
and draw from
100, I
it.
think you would borrow probably 100,000, because that would include a little bit more, would you say more? I wish Kendall were here.
Does Kendall have any idea about the tax rate, how it's gonna affect the tax rate? Because
That's-
now we're going up here at 6.2, and then next year the complex is gonna
Paid
fall
off.
and
That's my
we
question.
have to keep that stable.
Correct.
So Kendall said that she'd be available by phone if anybody has,
Do you want to give her?
give her a call and just say, how is this gonna
Yeah.
affect the tax rate?
Right.
You wanna keep that as stable as possible, because if the taxes are going and it goes down to 2%, and then it's gonna jump up and down, we will have no money.
Right. Oh, yeah, no, that's so cool.
Probably the furnace.
Everybody's getting
Hey, Sally, we're in the board meeting. We just have, Laura had a good question for you. We're just talking about the wish list and trying to make some decisions. Everyone likes the wish list and wants to possibly put it forward. I don't know if that'll give you a heart attack or not, but Laura had a great question. Laura, you want to speak?
Kendall, I was just thinking, how is that gonna affect with this new loan that we're thinking about, possibly $100,000? How is that gonna affect the tax rate? Because right now we're at 6.2, and next year with the complex falling off, is that $100,000 gonna kind of keep that tax rate stable?
Well, next year, we're gonna want to take out the road loan, or we wanna take the road loan out before September this year. So we're actually gonna be taking out even more money. At the last road loan, you guys took out like 800-something thousand, almost $1 million to do the roads. And so this loan you guys are considering buying is gonna be penny compared to the other loan you guys are.
Wait, say that last part again. You cut out. Where'd you go?
This loan you're discussing tonight is just pennies compared to the loan you guys are going to be discussing here in a couple months.
Okay. All right. Do you have anything to say about the wish list, by the way? Kelly has spoken up well as the finance chair. I just am curious.
Were you talking to Kelly or me?
You, I'm talking to you, Kendall.
Oh,
Did you cut it out?
no.
Good thing you had a radio tower, you don't cut out.
I'm in the woods.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, thanks for being there.
Yes, I can hear you okay.
Even one or two of the items is not going to make a small dent in the overall picture.
Okay.
So I was prepared for you guys to probably pass it through.
Okay.
The next step would just be to contact
Yeah, sure.
Ellers, have them get us the information and get it going. And then we'll do this whole process over again with the roads after we get quotes for the second half of the village.
Okay.
And that interest rate was 6%, right?
Yes, that interest rate was 6%. It says on the bottom here, I believe that's what it,
It was 6% no matter how many years you took out.
Okay.
okay.
Does it have a prepayment penalty on it?
Does it have a prepayment penalty on it?
I do not know that.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. I'll call you back or text you if I have any other questions, but thank you, Kendall.
Okay, no
All
problem.
right, bye.
Okay.
So that being said, what, I just want to make sure if we're going to do this complete wish list, that we do borrow enough so that we're not halfway through a job, and now we're taking another $1,000 out from what is budgeted towards something else to complete a job that we're halfway through because we didn't take enough out this time.
Okay, so,
That's a really good point.
I kind of thought the same.
Yeah.
What would
almost
you,
went over by 10%.
Just what I
Yeah,
said.
say over.
so like 110,000?
Yeah.
110, yeah.
Yeah.
For
Okay.
accidentals, yeah.
All right, so, I'm fine with it. I just want to make sure you're all fine with it.
110.
So,
What term, how long
how long of a term?
would you be looking at borrowing it? How long of a term?
I think it's still paid off, but I don't know. As she said, the life of the loan.
I thought you said something like 5 years, something like that.
One more question.
Thank you.
Drinking moonshine.
What is the life of the loan? Do you know?
Pointing at building five.
That's a decision that we can come up with, but it was 6%, no matter how many years you
Okay,
6% no matter how long.
okay, thank you.
Decide how long.
Do we want to add the gazebo if we wanted to put a gazebo out front? Or you don't, I guess it doesn't matter to you, it matters to the board. Okay, no worries, thank you.
So they have them at
Bye.
Costco right now.
Oh, yeah?
Okay, 125.
Going once?
We could go, yeah, why not?
No,
Get some new tires on the
they're
bed.
stressing me out.
I have a lot of reasons why.
They used to have a gazebo up there.
Yeah.
I know, did they? No, really?
We took it down.
Why? Oh, I'm
It
calling.
was the old pump house from the Taylor home.
Oh, that thing.
Got it. So,
Yeah, that was a long time.
Before she was even here.
Oh,
you
yeah.
ready? 110?
Yeah.
110, you think that's enough?
Do you want to do the gazebo? Do you want to put the money in there, just kind of let it sit there and say, okay, if we want to do that, we have the money for it?
I think it would only cost
A couple of grand.
three or four. So we do 112? Kelly's like, I like even numbers, like 115.
I do.
Yeah,
It's like a
115,
number.
then someone might have a wedding there, we'll make it right back up.
Yep, I think
Yeah,
because
you're
even
right.
with a lot of people,
It can, it can.
I agree
Okay,
with you.
so our final, we are voting on, if you could, I'm gonna do a roll call on the approval of the new loan amount for complex window and building maintenance projects in the amount of $115,000. If I could have a roll call.
Hinkle, aye.
Stewie, aye.
Gasser, aye.
Johnson, eh?
Stein, aye.
Okay. And the ayes have it, so we are passed. And we will let Kendall know. And Kurt, you have my permission to call that man this evening. Oh, here, you want to borrow my phone? Call that man this evening and see if you can get this.
So we can make it happen.
You can sell tickets and give rides.
Okay, moving on.
Can I just say one thing? If we're
Sure.
gonna do that slab of concrete out in the front, you just want one 20-foot by 20-foot slab, nothing fancy, nothing stamped, nothing colored, no,
Nope.
just
Don't.
Where is this going?
It's gonna be
Where the
covered
old
in
concrete,
anyway,
where the
so
cabin
it'll
was?
wear and tear.
Okay.
take that out, right, put a new one in
When we have bands that play there on Tuesdays,
Tuesdays.
there are holes in there. I'm constantly worried somebody's gonna fall and trip and hurt themselves. So, I mean, it's in bad shape.
Just, that's what I think too. Dark. Dark.
Yeah. No, it's, yeah.
I-
But it's, I mean, like, it's just, okay. Next order of business is just for, resolution of approval of accounts payable. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a
Gotta
motion
lift them by
for the
trying to
resolution
buy
of approval of accounts payable,
There's a guy
which is in the city
in
of
Washington State wants it.
And second?
Oh,
Second.
And he's looking at how much it costs to.
I would just
to get it from there to there.
Okay, I will not. So first
Come
by
up here today.
trustee Sines, second by Johnson. Discussion on accounts payable, all in favor? Opposed? You guys have it, so passed. Before I adjourn,
So I had 2 residents come to me about all the yard stakes all over the neighborhood. I know previously before asphalt contractors, we've had gentlemen come in and they put them in, it was great, and everyone's, didn't have to worry about people driving on their lawn. But now it kind of looks like a mess, is what it was told me. They're everywhere, people are putting these mini stakes that are steel along their property, and I think some of that was because of the new dirt we have and the new roads, and people were trying to get their yards to grow back in. One concern was it just doesn't look tidy, and we like having a very well-maintained neighborhood, and the other issue is having an 18-inch metal stake every 8 feet along the road and having children ride their bikes and having people walking by. Someone can get impaled or really injured.
Right.
Someone can run over one of these stakes and have them go through their tires, because they're right on the road.
so maybe
So-
putting out a notice or something to let people know.
It's
Snow is probably done, can you remove your stakes?
right, and I mean, I know I put them up if there's a rummage sale happening in the neighborhood, so people that don't live here don't park on my lawn.
But I do feel like it could be cleaned up. I do
Yeah.
love when stakes come down and I feel like they are not coming down.
They're not coming.
But I mean, the plastic
They're all
ones, like the
summer.
ones you have up front,
Yeah.
I don't feel are as big of a deal.
But
But some of them are looking really, really junky.
I do wonder if we need to maybe have a more serious discussion about what materials those should be. Because there are some neighbors that do have like rebar up all the time. And I know I've got the plastic ones, and I don't have them up for snow removal, I have them up because otherwise the Amazon trucks tear up my yard.
Yes,
So that's why.
the Amazon
until
truck is
everything
tearing up
dries,
a lot of
they're
yards
tearing
right
up a lot,
now.
and I don't pull mine up until after spring, because I wouldn't, you know, but in my defense, I have like, they're not in super deep, they're the plastic ones that are, you know, with the wind, you know, they're not, you wouldn't hail a child. But I think maybe, you know, some of the, and I do remember a couple of years ago, there was a notice that was put out because people were putting like rocks, like the big boulders, and I remember it said that if you know, someone hits a boulder with their car, you know, that's on you because you put a rock in your yard kind of a thing. So I'm wondering if, yes, notice that we can start looking those things up. People aren't going to, but maybe just limit the materials that they are, so you can't have anything that is,
Dangerous.
yeah, maybe just limit it to, you know,
Oh,
maybe,
nice seeing you.
maybe a wood stake,
Happy
like
birthday,
a,
huh?
a dowel.
When was it?
Dowel
It was
for
December.
wood stake or a plastic.
I'm an old
I
guy.
even say the ones that are supplied for that
Keep you around for your
purpose,
memory.
that-
You know, that's-
Yeah.
Appreciate your
She said I was gonna talk about
Yeah,
it, sorry.
yeah. No, I think the
As soon
reason.
as they brought it to me, I
It's
was
just
like, oh,
Yeah,
that doesn't.
This is wasted. That's too bad.
All right, well, it is 7:32 and the meeting is adjourned.